What you're about to see should have been impossible. Entire ships surrendered at the sight of this man. Some thought he was a demon. Others thought he couldn't be killed. How did one pirate become a legend? Let's find out. This is the story of Blackbeard. Blackbeard wasn't born a legend. In fact, nobody is entirely sure where he came from. Historians believe his real name was Edward Teach, but the world would remember him by another name, and that name would become one of the most feared in history. Quick fact before we continue: Blackbeard rarely had to fight. Most ships surrendered before the battle even started. And that wasn't an accident. Blackbeard carefully built his image. Before battle, he would place burning fuses inside his beard. Imagine seeing that through cannon smoke in the middle of the ocean. Many sailors believed they were looking at a demon. Here's the crazy part: the fear was often more powerful than his cannons. Around 1717, Blackbeard captured a massive French slave ship. Instead of selling it, he transformed it into one of the most powerful pirate ships of its time. He renamed it Queen Anne's Revenge. At its peak, the ship carried around 40 cannons. Quick fact: most merchant ships stood absolutely no chance against something this powerful. Soon, Blackbeard controlled large parts of the Caribbean. His name spread from port to port. Merchants feared him, governors feared him, even experienced sailors feared him. And then he did something almost unbelievable. Blackbeard decided to blockade an entire city. The city was Charleston. One morning, people woke up and discovered that pirate ships controlled the harbor. No ships could enter. No ships could leave. Trade stopped. Panic spread. The governor couldn't stop him. The Navy wasn't there. And Blackbeard controlled everything. Here's the craziest part: he wasn't demanding gold. He wasn't demanding treasure. He wanted medicine. His crew needed supplies. And instead of attacking the city directly, he simply waited. Eventually, Charleston gave him what he wanted, and Blackbeard sailed away victorious. No major battle, no invasion, just pure intimidation. By now, Blackbeard had become a serious problem. Merchants were losing money. Governments were losing control. Trade routes were constantly under threat. So eventually, someone decided enough was enough. Lieutenant Robert Maynard was chosen to hunt Blackbeard down. This would become one of the most famous pirate hunts in history. The final confrontation would take place near Ocracoke Island. Blackbeard saw them coming, and neither side planned to surrender. The battle began. Cannons fired, smoke covered the sea, ships collided, pirates and naval soldiers fought hand to hand. Quick fact: unlike many pirate captains, Blackbeard often fought on the front lines himself. He wasn't the type of leader who stayed safely behind the battle. He charged directly into the action. And according to several reports, he continued fighting even after suffering multiple injuries. The battle was brutal. Neither side wanted to back down. But eventually, even Blackbeard reached the end of his journey. The most feared pirate in history was gone. Or was he? Because that's when the legends truly began. Stories spread across the Caribbean. Some sailors claimed Blackbeard's ghost still haunted the sea. Others believed his treasure had never been found. Rumors of hidden gold spread everywhere. Maps appeared. Treasure hunters searched islands. And over time, Blackbeard became something bigger than a pirate. He became a legend. More than 300 years later, we still remember his name. Not because he conquered countries, not because he built an empire, not because he became rich, but because he understood something most people never do. Sometimes fear is more powerful than force. Blackbeard knew that if people believed he was unstoppable, they would often surrender before a battle even began. And that strategy worked better than most weapons ever could. Today, his story continues to inspire books, movies, documentaries, and video games. His image remains one of the most recognizable in pirate history. The burning beard, the pistols across his chest, the massive pirate ship, the terrifying reputation. All of it helped create a legend that survived long after the man himself was gone. And perhaps that's the most fascinating part of the story. Blackbeard wasn't the richest pirate, he wasn't the most successful pirate, and he certainly wasn't the longest-serving pirate. Yet somehow, he became the most famous. Because people rarely remember who was strongest. They remember who was unforgettable. And Blackbeard made sure nobody would ever forget him. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and join us for more fascinating stories from history, mysteries, mythology, and incredible true events. This has been Stick Channel, where the world's greatest stories are brought to life, one stick figure at a time.